Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. Today's top story: 1,700 Waterford students have received their Leaving Cert results. A Waterford publican has expressed frustration with the guidelines for reopening pubs. WLR has been shortlisted for 7 IMRO Radio Awards, and in sport, Niall Quinn's to step away from his role of Deputy Interim CEO of the FAI. A Waterford student says today's Leaving Cert results were hard fought. The Leaving Cert class of 2020 is celebrating after achieving record high results in the first ever calculated grade system. Across all subjects and levels, grades are up an average of 4.4 percentage points on last year. Around 8 in 10 students received a grade that was either the same or higher than their teacher's estimate. Around 1,700 Waterford students received their results this morning. Rian O'Donoghue from Abbeyside in Dungarvan is one of them. He spoke to Damien Tiernan on Daisha today.
For students, the grades we all got today were hard fought this year, you know. The massive student activism to get the Leaving Cert cancelled in the first place, which in the end turned out to be the safest of a few bad options. And then again, massive student activism to make sure that there was no school profiling. And I'm grateful for the work of all my fellow students who worked on these things and emailing politicians and TDs to make sure that we have the fairest system possible.
Daisy Drone is from the Ursuline.
I was really kind of working for the last year or two for the H1s in English and Art History. So it's kind of what I'm hoping to do in college. So I was absolutely delighted to get those. I was kind of really working towards them. So it was so nice to see the hard work paid off. I felt I was a little low in one of my subjects, but overall my points were fine. So I don't think I'll probably look into getting anything appealed depending on how Friday goes. But I think overall I'm delighted. I was kind of where I predicted I would be.
131 students sat the exams at St Augustine's College in Dungarvan. Principal Michael O'Sullivan says they were a strong group this year and did very well, but it's unfortunate they can't meet their students in person.
You know, normally the Leaving Cert results is, you meet them all, they come in, you hand them out the results personally. Unfortunately this year there's none of that, again with the COVID-19 and the whole thing, the whole area of health and safety and people coming into schools. Again, the school is back to full operation at the moment, so it's a standard school day. Normally the Leaving Cert is given out in August.
Michael O'Sullivan says attention will turn swiftly to Friday's CAO offers.
These were a particularly good group anyway going forward, and we're going to do well either way. I suppose the uncertainty really is for everyone here is in relation to, I suppose, success is relative. So, you know, you may have done very, very well and got very high points, but if you fall short of the course you're looking for, there's obviously going to be disappointment in that.
Publicans are expressing their frustration with Fall to Ireland guidelines for reopening so-called wet pubs. There's growing expectation that all pubs will be allowed to start serving again later this month. However, bars will close at 11:30pm and it'll be table service only. Michael Fitzgerald, owner of the Munster Bar in Waterford City Centre, says the guidelines are onerous.
If you walk into a pub, you're going to have to sign in. You're going to have to be brought to your table. You're going to have to be served at the table. If the public can only manage 1 metre, you'll be asked to leave in an hour 45. And if there's only 1 metre between, you'll have to book into the pub. If there's 2 metres, you can stay longer. There's no count. You can't be at the counter. Only 6 people at a table and only from 3 different households. 1 person at a time in the toilets. You know, that's basically what you're at. That's what a public is faced with now to get a customer into the bar.
Yesterday was the 6th day in a row that new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed for Waterford. According to the COVID Tracker app, 34 cases have been diagnosed in Waterford over the last 2 weeks. Elsewhere, there's no change in the number of confirmed cases at University Hospital Waterford. The HSE's daily operations update shows 2 cases on site as of 8 o'clock last night. 2 suspected cases were awaiting the results of testing at the time. Ireland's economy is now officially in recession. GDP fell by just over 6% in April, May and June, the largest quarter-on-quarter fall ever recorded. New CSO figures show the construction industry took a hit of 38%, with the transport, hotel and restaurant sector contracting by 30%. Waterford-born economist Jim Power says the impact of the COVID-19 lockdown is clear.
If you look at the indigenous parts of the economy, consumer spending fell back by 19.6%, which is pretty dramatic. And we also saw the traditional indigenous Irish-owned industries also under quite a bit of pressure. The domestic economy in the second quarter hit very, very significantly by the shutdown imposed by COVID-19.
Tánaiste Leo Varadkar said the Brexit withdrawal agreement trumps any domestic legislation the UK might pass. It comes as reported plans to undermine parts of the deal relating to Northern Ireland have added an edge to trade negotiations. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe.
Overshadowed by the COVID pandemic, Brexit trade negotiations have been continuing in the background with very little progress made ahead of a December deadline. But now Boris Johnson has turned up the heat. He's expected to say today that a deal needs to get done by October 15th EU Council meeting, or that both sides should move on. The British Prime Minister is also reportedly preparing legislation aimed at undermining parts of the already finished withdrawal agreement. The laws would try to get rid of the rules requiring checks on certain goods coming from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, which would again raise the prospect of border checks being needed on this island. Tánaiste Leo Varadkar has said at this time in the negotiations you do see a certain amount of sabre rattling.
The withdrawal agreement, including the protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland, is an international agreement. And they trump any domestic legislation that any country may pass.
It's unclear how serious Boris Johnson is about going this route or whether it is brinkmanship ahead of the talk starting again tomorrow, but European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has warned him that the withdrawal agreement as it is now is an essential part of any future relationship between the UK and EU.
A Waterford MEP says Mairead McGuinness is the most likely candidate to secure an EU Commissioner role. McGuinness and Andrew McDowell are the two Irish nominees to replace Kilkenny's Phil Hogan. They'll have to present their case to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Speaking from Brussels, Waterford Green Party MEP Grace O'Sullivan says that gender balance in the Commission is something that von der Leyen promised.
Phil Hogan held the Trade Commissioner post. Now, there's really a huge question whether either of the nominated candidates will be given that post. But what we do know, and it's very, very clear, is the President of the Commission does favour a female because she made a commitment to have, in as far as possible, a gender-based team of commissioners. So I think all things equal, she will favour Mairead McGuinness.
WLR has received 7 nominations for this year's IMRO Radio Awards, more than any other local station in the country. 673 entries were received for this year's awards, which will be a virtual live stream event due to government guidelines. WLR were shortlisted in the following categories: Local Current Affairs Programme, News Reporter of the Year, Local Speech Broadcaster of the Year, Documentary, Arts, Music and Culture Documentary, Drama and Short Feature. Damien Tiernan and Asia Today team were nominated for 3 awards across 3 different categories. He says that WLR has really punched above its weight this year, and the nominations show how it's paid off.
Absolutely thrilled. It's brilliant. You know, the station's got 7 nominations altogether, 3 for the programme, the production team. Oh, it's just amazing, you know, for Jennifer, for Julie, for Michael, everybody that put all the nominations together. Really is great. And for a local station like WLR to be really punching above its weight, like many national stations like FM 104, for example, 2FM, Radio Foyle, we've outshone them in terms of our nominations. Not saying that we're going to win, but it's lovely to get the nominations. It's great to get nominated by your peers in what has been an amazing year for radio. I think radio has proven again how trustworthy it is.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
A very good afternoon from the Sports Desk. I'm Nigel Kelly. Starting with soccer, where Niall Quinn is to step away from his role of Deputy Interim CEO of the FAI. Quinn had indicated prior to last week's EGM that he would be interested in remaining in place in some shape or form. However, he has decided to leave his own role following the announcement by Interim CEO Gary Owens that he would not be looking for the permanent CEO role. Moving to last night's game, where former Ireland international Gary Breen says it was always going to take time for Stephen Kenny to change the style of the team. The boys in green have 1 point after 2 games in the Nations League under Kenny following yesterday's 1-0 defeat to Finland. Ireland played Slovakia in the Euro 2020 playoff on the 8th of October, and Breen says it was never going to be a quick fix.
It does take time, but the massive difference, and certainly is you probably want to look at and judge a bit better when the players are fit, because to play an international game before you've played any club games is incredible, but we're in incredible time, so you have to adjust. You talked about how intense it is. Yes, of course it's going to be intense, bearing in mind what's happening in the world, and you have to kind of hit the ground running, but at the same time, this, as I said earlier, was never going to be a quick fix.
There is more action in the Nations League tonight, where Northern Ireland host Norway, while Scotland will face a Czech Republic squad with only 2 previously capped players in it when they play their Nations League match. A coronavirus case within the camp led to the Czech FA naming a whole new squad after being told they must fulfil the fixture by UEFA. Scotland boss Steve Clarke doesn't think it'll be the last time a game is affected in this way.
I'd be happier if I was playing against the Czech Republic full national team, but we're in a very strange time, a very disturbing time really. If you look at the amount of cases all over the world, and I can't believe that the Czech Republic will be the only camp that comes up with a positive COVID test at some time.
Elsewhere in soccer, Man City have confirmed that Riyad Mahrez and Aymeric Laporte have both tested positive for COVID-19. City say that neither player is displaying symptoms of the virus, but both are self-isolating in accordance with Premier League and UK government protocol on quarantine. City don't play their first league game until September 21st because of their involvement in the Champions League last month. Moving to tennis, where world number 1 Novak Djokovic has apologised after being disqualified from the US Open tennis. The top seed hit a ball at a line judge during his 4th round match against Pablo Carreno Busta. It means there will be a new male Grand Slam champion for the first time since 2014. In golf, Dustin Johnson will take a 5-shot lead into the final round of the Tour Championship in Atlanta. The American is 19 under par, 5 ahead of Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele, while Rory McIlroy is on 8 under. And in racing news, there is an 8-race card at Galway this afternoon, with the first race going to post at 4:05. Sports news on WLR, thanks to Virgin Media, Waterford.